Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best-selling cards under $5 or less. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. I'm a little under the weather. That's why my voice just cracked. So who isn't everybody? I went to the store yesterday to buy cough drops. It was like a third of the usual amount of cough drops. Something must be going on if you live in the northern states. Um, I was scrolling back up because we didn't want to see spoilers, but we kind of know, right? We kind of know what's been going on. This card, interesting. Um, I was actually just watching a video by the DB Grinder. It was like one of the most recent ones he just posted was like Libromancer versus Tier Elements. It's starting to make some moves. I really don't like what has sort of happened to the ritual mechanic. Um, like it started with Gishki, I feel like, where you had a card like Aquamir that could shuffle itself back. I don't remember how it does that. It's been so long. I think it shuffles itself and a monster back, which for when the card came out was actually really, really broken. Yeah, and that's why the card's an $8 card. Because it is a really fantastic card if you want to play Gishkis. Like this is a really good card. And there's other ritual cards too. In this deck, like you can pay life points to summon something out. You can actually There's actually a card that allows you to tribute your opponent's monsters. It just skips the battle phase. That's why no one ever sees it. But you can shuffle this card into your deck and target one Gishki ritual monster in your graveyard. Return it to your hand. That's even better, right? But then you look at the Necros ritual cards, and we take a step further, and all of a sudden now we can banish. They all have these clauses here where if you control no monsters, you can banish this in a Necros card and add a Necros spell card from your deck to your hand. And a lot of the Necros monsters have effects if they're banished. Not usually the ritual monsters. I was trying to find the ones that no one ever sees. Like this, for example. That was not a good example. But there are cards. I believe I'm pretty sure this sorcerer does. If this card is banished, you can send a Necros monster from your deck to your graveyard, right? So there's that, right? And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the next step in evolution for ritual-based decks was Drytron, right? And like the way that this deck functions is this isn't really even that great of a card to showcase exactly, how Drytron is. A lot of what Drytron can do is this. So now instead of basing it off of level and having potential bricks, it's based off of attack, right? And like that's just absolutely insane. And like this, when you ritual summon, you can detach material from this card as monster required for the ritual summon. Right? And then we take a look at now sort of this next step of where Libromancers are sort of like now they are, it's like equipped spells and they can summon. There's a lot of ignoring its summoning conditions type scenarios. And it's just not like, it's one thing for Zodiac to make Xyz monsters with one material, or like Synchro monsters and Sword Soul, right? It's another thing entirely when it's like ritual monsters don't even need a ritual spell anymore. And that's kind of where we're at now. Is like ritual monsters, like they do need the ritual spell, but they don't really function the way they used to. And I could be wrong. It could have changed before Gishki. I just feel like Gishki was the first archetype. Like there's like Gishki Vision, Gishki Shadow that can be used as the full material. Like that was the start of it, and it has just been power creep, power creep, power creep, power creep till now, where it's almost like you're not even ritual summoning anymore. It's almost like it's a different style of summoning. What ritual summoning is now, but my soapbox aside, as far as whether or not this is a good card to buy, you kind of would have gotten it here, obviously, as it's nearly doubled in price over the last month. Used to be $1.60, now it's north of $4. Um, Not a lot of listings under $5. Feels like this is what I'll say about this. First off, this card is also by itself, meaning there's no other printings, so that's a dangerous spot. They being Konami obviously, could randomly reprint this card in a set out of absolutely nowhere. That makes no sense. They could randomly hurt Emergency Teleport, which that card is interesting, and we are getting closer and closer to the ban list discussion. I know a lot of people don't really look at a card like Emergency Teleport as a problem because Tier Elements doesn't run it, and if Tier Elements doesn't run it, the card's not a problem. But Emergency Teleport, since its comeback, has been an issue. So that's another thing that could sway this card's price. Another thing is that the deck might just not be very good. So what I would try to do with this is you have to be very quick with this. You have to get this card now and sell it when it finally hits its peak. Where that's going to be, I don't know. You know, once the new support comes out, then we realize, oh, the deck is not very good. Maybe that'll be it. I don't know, but maybe this deck will end up being really, really good, right? And this card will get really, really expensive, right? We just saw Gishki Aquamir, right? It's not out of the realm of possibility that this could be a $6 or $7 card soon. But I would just be very, very careful with this because this is not when you want to buy. Maybe this would have even been a better spot than where it's at now, where it's basically a $4 card. I think the new stuff did come out. Has some of the stuff that it's not new Libromancer support. There's a new ritual archetype that this works with. I'm pretty sure that's what I was looking at. I don't remember fully. When you get, this isn't an excuse, but it kind of feels like one. When you get to a certain spot, because I think it was like on the last video where I was asking about this, that, and the other, and they were like, "Oh, there's this new combo that includes that card." Oh, it was a Spring-Ins card, right? Or it was like Book of Eclipse was randomly. I was like, "Why is Book of Eclipse so far up?" When you get to a certain spot where you just like, I can either remember all the archetypes and kind of keep up with the new archetypes, or I can get really, really, really devoted to playing the game and know what all the archetypes always do at all times. I'm just not going to do the second thing. I'm like, with all due respect, I'm not going to do the second thing. I know that there is something that's coming out soon that interacts with Libromancers, that makes the deck a little bit better, which is why Geek Boy is up. That's all I got for you. I don't think it's going to be very good, though. Similar to, like, Dark World, for example. Like, we thought Dark World was going to be really great, but I think, no, we didn't, right? I think the smart ones, we didn't know. And here's the thing. I just got done talking about these cards. Merrymaker, I just got done referencing them. Merrymaker and Book of Eclipse. We've talked about Book of Eclipse before. This card, that's its cheap version, I think. Oh, no, so it has plenty of cheap versions. I wouldn't get too overzealous about it. The Ultra Rare from Dual Devastator, just everything from Dual Devastator was great. If you got, that's the thing, like, that's the thing about something like Dual Devastator, and I will talk about sets a lot, and I'll talk about sets on, like, the regular Market Watch that I started doing as well. This is why I talk about sets. I don't just talk about sets because there are chase cards, like, I think when I first started talking about Dual Devastator, it was like Ghost Bell was really expensive, Ash was really expensive, Called By was relatively expensive. Sorry, but even like Sorry Yugioh, Effect Veiler, Book of Eclipse, those have gotten more expensive. Super Poly is also in here. So if you got Dual Devastator way back, obviously when it was on the shelves, that's one thing. But when you got it when it's like 50, you're still doing really good because it's cards like these that are just randomly in here that end up going up in value because of the Fenrir's archetype. Kashtira? Kashtira. Kashtira. I don't know. This card, too, is starting to calm down a little bit. I wouldn't. I would stay clear of this. I would stay clear of the Book of Eclipse as well. Book of Eclipse is a solid going second card. And this version is pretty cool looking, too. I'm not going to be running Book of Eclipse. I just don't think it's that great of a card. But if I was to run Book of Eclipse, even though I like the ultra rare version from Dual Devastator, um, I'd either just go ahead and get the Astral Pack. I'm pretty sure the Astral Pack version is pretty expensive, or just get a common. I would get a common, to be honest. I would just get one of these. Like I don't like rares, like specifically. Like I don't like rares. I actually might even have it because I bought 3 copies of this structure deck, um, Spirit Charmers. So I probably already have 3 copies of Book of Eclipse, and I just don't even know it. And that's kind of where I'm at with a card like Book of Eclipse. And I don't really care about rarities at all. So I would be getting this for as far as me playing it's concerned. And you do need to consider that when you're going for a card like Book of Eclipse. It is the second best selling. It is the second highest rarity. I think it might even be the highest rarity. I think Ultra Rare is higher than Super Rare, but they're really close. Obviously, Astral Pack, though, is almost always going to supersede just about anything else. Unless it's like an Ultra Pack common, yes. But even sometimes, Ultra Pack commons can supersede like Secret Rares, Ultimate Rares, different things like that. But when you have to consider, like, yes, this Book of Eclipse is about to be $1, could be $1.50, $2 soon, right? But there are other versions on the market that are like pennies, right? So you are going to get situations where it might be a little bit harder to sell because why would someone get this when they can just get 40 copies of this for around the same value, right? Because I think that sounded like a hyperbole, but I actually don't think, $6, right? And if this is a $2 card, a play set of this is $6. So I could go get the Tactical Masters Rare. I can get 40 copies for $6 because 40 times 15 is 600, and that's 600 cents, so $6. Or let's say this is a $2 card, then I get 3 copies. 3 times 2 is 6, so that's $6, right? It's just different things like that. And this card, it may say that it's being sold for $1.49, right? But you can only sell it for what you can sell it for, right? So that's just something to keep in mind with that. I've talked about those cards before too. This feels really good. I haven't talked about Small World in a while. This feels like a really good spot to get Small World. $3, $4. It just recently got reprinted. It just recently came out. The best deck in the room doesn't run it. But there are a lot of really good decks that can utilize this. I was even using it in Salmon Grade at one point. Because you could run, if you run Parallel, it was my reason to run Parallel Exceed, because I don't like Parallel Exceed in Salmon Grade. You can comment down below if you do, but I don't. But Parallel Exceed is just nothing similar at all to a Salmon Grade card. So that was kind of like the bridge there to help Search Gazelle. 3 copies at $4 for $12 for a playset's not bad. This could be a $12 card one day. You call me crazy. They called me a madman, but it has been slowly creeping up because this is a very high value card for rogue decks, and at some point the best deck in the room might run Small World because I don't think it's ever going to get hit ever, and it might not get a reprint anytime soon either, right? As we continue onward and forward, Sky Striker doing Sky Striker things, a lot of Magnificent Maven stuff that's puring to be one of the better sets. Shout out to this version of Raigeki. What is Raigeki doing? There's no way if a structure deck common is $3. What is the cheapest version of Raigeki right now? Really? There's no way. That has to be wrong. 360. Yeah, I think we stumbled upon the cheapest version already. Yes. 349.7, yes. From the Spirit Charmer structure deck. But right now, the best-selling one is the one from the 2019 Megatins, followed by the Spirit Charmers. I mean, those are the ones that are under $5. This one's hard to find. This one's really hard to find. It's a secret rare. Is there a lot of common versions of this card? Is there a way? There's a way to do that, right? We go over here. You can't even find the common. You can't even click on common. I think there is only one common Raigeki. It really... I know I just got done talking about rarity, but it really does look a lot worse with the common version. Like, this version of Raigeki looks so much better than this version of Raigeki. But what's really cool is that it does the exact same thing. So I mentioned when the card came back to 3, to get it, it's kind of been all over the place. Goodness gracious, has it been all over the place. Like 90-cent fluctuation in the last 6 months. This is about where it came back. And in the last month, this looks like this is just what Raigeki's been doing lately, because it's a really good budget option. Dark Ruler No More is still really good, but you'd like to see this card and Dark Ruler No More, right? Lightning Storm's a really good card and just got a reprint. You would think Lightning Storm would make Lightning Storm's reprint would make this card's value go down, because Lightning Storm just kind of power creeps Raigeki, but it actually kind of doesn't at the same time. Like Lightning Storm going second is really good, but Lightning Storm, I mean, and you have to consider this when you're running cards in your deck and in your side deck. The first Lightning Storm is probably better than the first Raigeki. But the second and third Raigeki are probably better than the second and third Lightning Storm, because you're probably going to have a monster face up, or a card face up, or a field spell, or a continuous spell or trap, right? Or even a quip spell. I don't know. The Libromancers are in quip spells now. And Raigeki can be used while you have a card that's faced up. Raigeki can also get monsters that are in defense position. Raigeki can also get face down monsters, right? And that might be redundant because face down monsters have to be in defense position. Even though I think there is a specific interaction that makes a card face up, or face down attack position, but I don't remember what it is. When we look at Raigeki, is it a good time to buy? Probably not. This is probably its peak, because it's been, I mean, we just saw the charts last 6 months, 90-cent fluctuations. You might, if you want to, try to catch it on the way down and put it back on the way up, but that's a lot of leg movement. That's a lot of, you buy it at a certain time. Because here's the thing. The wave is going to be moving regardless of what you're doing. If you catch it on the way down, that's awesome. By the time it gets to you, it's on the way up. You sell it, awesome. You don't even have to take it out of the package. You take it out of the envelope. You put it in a new envelope. Awesome, right? But let's say you buy it on the way down, and by the time it arrives, it's peaked, and so you're about to sell it, and it goes back down again. Right, so I would stay clear of this. If you haven't gotten your playset, I would get it now, though, because I think we've talked about Raigeki like this before, but there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 versions of this card, and the cheapest one is $3. I don't think, as far as Raigeki is as a whole, I don't think it's going to ever be cheaper than that as long as the card stays at 3. Like, some cards are very hard to power creep, and this is one of them. Just to keep it real. It's just always been a very, very good card. Kashtira. I want to look at this, but I know we're going to look at it later, so I'm just going to go ahead and wait. Let's go to the second. We're not going all the way to the third page. We're just going to go to the second page real quick. Look at that. Out the gate. What in the world? Is this ran? 1 second. You can finish. 2 rescue 8 cards. Special on this card. You said 4 with different names directly from your deck. Another card you control this field. You can target 1 card in the field. Destroy it. 3K? 3K. That's pretty good. Is the deck just bad? Because that seems fine, right? Am I crazy? That didn't seem terrible. We got Hydrant over here. I kind of want to read it. I mean, I know it's the penny stock market watch. I kind of, while you control your opponent's monster, cannot target this card for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You can activate them the turn they were set, and you can add a monster. So it's a Stratos. It's a Temple of the Kings, but for quick plays as well. But how do you get? You can activate quick play spells or trap cards that was set by the effect of your rescue ace cards. Okay, it took me a second. It took me way too long to try to figure out what that does. That is interesting. And if you guys, this is a weird thing that I've noticed about myself, just in self-reflection. You know, if you're just in the shower sometimes and you just start self-reflecting, I've noticed I really like fire archetypes, and because like my first deck that I really got started playing competitively was Fire King, and I've just always had an affiliation with fire decks. Like my favorite deck right now to play is Salamangreat. It's just in a really bad spot, but this has piqued my interest. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm not gonna go as far as to read every single card. I just wanted to see what the most expensive card looked like. But here's my thing. For a card that says you can set up to 4 anythings, right? And then if you have Hydra on the field, you can activate all of them. So that is a +3. No, that is actually just a +4. And even if we take the card in its totality, even though it banishes from your graveyard, actually, so that's not even a negative either. It's literally just a +4. Now, obviously, it's gonna be kind of hard. It's gonna be kind of hard to get that off, right? Because if your opponent can read, which sometimes people just don't be reading, but like if your opponent can read, then they're not going to. They're going to hit that first. They're gonna get rid of that first. But if we look at, okay, don't do that. I don't know what that's about. A lot of bidding for these. Um, what in the world is this, right? So I actually this was good. This was good. I wasn't sure if this was going to lead to somewhere good. It's missing hydrant. It says it's not too. Oh, there it is. There it is. We found you. Still though, if you can get it for $4, and this was good. I clicked on this not knowing where it was going to take me. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm glad we found this because this is a good example of what I talked about a few weeks ago, where I was talking about sometimes. Okay, first off, I always buy deck cores from eBay, right? And if you're a subscriber to the channel, you've heard me say this before, so you go ahead and like skip ahead like 20 seconds or maybe 30, I don't know. But if you're not a subscriber or if this is your first time watching the video, the reason I do that is because on TCG Player, there have been a lot of issues with people sending packages. And it's very hard to get deck cores from one person. If I can get a deck core from one person, I'll get it off a TCG Player because it is usually cheaper. But in most cases, eBay's the place I go, right? Now, a lot of times I'll just go straight up for buy it now. But recently, as of 3 weeks ago, like I said, I've been noticing that sometimes these decks, and there's not a lot of these available, but I've noticed sometimes these decks go for bids, auctions, right? Like I don't even think I could find a buy it now. Oh, this one, here we go. We got this one for $16.85. I would assume it's missing. I would assume it's missing Hydrant. Yeah. Is at least Turbulence is the one we're looking for. I don't see Turbulence either. Airlifter, Attacker, Fire Engine, and then this one over here. Monitor, Impulse, Lifter, Attacker, Engine. I don't see Turbulence either. But still, this is a good example of what I was talking about. Like, this isn't really that great of value for like $20. Like, this is not. I don't think there's $20 worth of value here. Maybe just in the Hydrant alone. But I think Hydrant, what we just saw, it was like an $8-10 card, right? But if you can get this, like if I bid $5, right, and I get it for $5, and then I pay $5 for shipping, that's $10 for this whole thing, right? And so bidding on eBay is like what it's known for, and you can bid and get like really solid decks off of eBay like that. Because even, let's say you get this for like $10 or $15, and so you pay $20 total. For $20 total, you're getting, if I can find the description here, I don't see it. I don't see the description. There's no like. I prefer to find stuff that has like the actual like. I like card list as well as pictures of the cards. But even still, there's like 3, 6, 9, and then there's 5 rows. So this is like 50 cards here. 40. This is like 40, 45 cards here. And most of these are cheap. These machine dupes cheap. Limited removals cheap. All the Rescue Ace cards, except for the two we're talking about, Card Troopers cheap. These cards up here at the top are cheap, but there's still cards, right? And at the very end of the day, 40 cards, 10 cents each. It's a bare minimum of $4, right? Or even 25 cents each, 40 cards. That's $10, right? So you do kind of gain value even if this card wasn't here, if you're able to get it for like $10. So that's why I said bidding can be very good, because you go just right back to what we were just talking about. This was 1685. This one didn't have it either. This one didn't have anything. This one's probably not worth it, even though it does have some of the Infernal Noble Knight stuff here, and like Hidden Arsenal is pretty cool. But in the Soul Day, it's actually not terrible. But I'm sure that's a relatively cheap card. But Rescue Ace deck could be the next really good budget deck. I have to look more into it. And you might just randomly see a Rescue Ace deck profile on the channel. But let me know what you guys think. What cards under $5 or less are good cards to look for? I really like this card, for example. Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys click that like button to show your support for the channel. Subscribe if you want more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.